whoa. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies, and comrades. I hope you're doing well, wherever you are for this Sunday, lovely Sunday. The weather is nice wherever I am. I just woke up. I wasn't feeling well. I was out last night, but I'm back. I'm sorry I missed last night. I'll be brief because I'm not staying long here before I'm trying to watch the Liverpool versus Manchester City game. And it's going to be, I think it's going to be on within the next hour. So I'll make this brief in case you're joining me. You can take this short ride to me before we get to the games of the day. If you're an EPL fan, English Premier League, or a soccer fan for that matter, actually, we are going to have something special one of these days, okay? But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, brothers, sisters, friends, and comrades, thank you for joining me. In case you're watching this and you got the notification, please go ahead and like the video as we get started. I'll be very brief, like I said. Today, we just want to go through a few things that has been happening in Kenyan politics, or should I say politics. First news, our wonderful friend who never misses the headlines, Raila Amolo Odinga. What about him? Yes, I know. Apparently, he's telling us he's not going anywhere. He'll be in the ballot in 2027. That's what he said. He was in Kibera yesterday to start this thing, the opening of Raila something, a college academy, something like that, okay? And he said, hey, in 2027, let's watch the video. By the way, if you're just joining, like the video. You know that's the first order of the day, liking the video. And if you haven't subscribe, okay? But anyway, let's get to it. Let's get to that. Then we shall go to other stuff because I have so much, but I will try to be very short, brief, and so that we can cover the few things that I want covered that I didn't cover yesterday. I was not here yesterday, so bear with me. Bear with me, like the bear with me. But anyway, here it is. Here's the video so I can contextualize what I'm trying to say. Here it is. This is Raila Odinga when he was giving the speech. Make sure if you're watching this thing later on, I know you guys are busy also getting ready to watch the game, but if you're going to watch it and repeat, make sure you like the video and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Anyway, here's the video of Raila Odinga when he was talking in Kibra. Citizen TV. Sorry. All right, here it is, buddy.
Azimio la Umoja leader Raila Odinga says Kenyan citizens can still recall him from his would-be role as the Africa Union Commission chairman to vie in the 2027 presidential election if need be. Now, the opposition leader who inspected various development projects in Kibra constituency challenged President William Ruto to prioritize reconstituting the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission among key issues recommended by the National Dialogue Committee. Seth Olale with more.
Raila Odinga extended his popularization of his Africa Union chairman candidature to Kibra constituency, where he also inspected a number of development projects funded by CDF.
Nakula breakfast Nairobi, lunch nakula Addis Ababa, dinner narudi tena Nairobi hapa.
Baba, your name alone is enough to make you the chair of AUC. Watu wasitutishe hapa wanatuambia ati tusipofuata laini, ati tuache kuwa viongozi wa upinzani, ati watanyima baba kura.
The opposition leader telling his supporters that they can recall him from his role as African Union Commission chairman should he clinch it to vie in the 2027 presidential election if needed.
Na mkinitaka, mkiniita, nitahitika. Sawa. Nikiitwa nitahitika, nikiitwa nitaitika, nikiitwa nitaitika.
Raila, who thanked Kibra residents for being on the forefront during opposition-led protests against the government, which led to the formation of the National Dialogue Committee to prioritize reconstituting the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, among key issues recommended by the National Dialogue Committee.
Sasa tumebakia na kutekeleza hiyo ripoti iwe implemented. Na sasa hapo sasa mimi nitahakikisha kwamba Bwana Ruto amefanya kazi yake pande ile na mimi nimefanya yangu pande hii.
The bishop. Speaking separately in Trans Nzoia and Kakamega counties, opposition leaders Wycliffe Oparanya, Jimmy Wanjigi, and DAP-K party leader Eugene Wamalwa asked Kenyans to reject the implementation of the NADCO report until it addresses their plight.
Kuna ushuru ambao unayatumiza mambo ya uchumi na kila kitu. What you are seeing today is the beginning of a platform where we are saying we no longer can take this anymore. And we are even wondering kama 4 years is too far.
Tulikuwa na masuala mengi kama 5 hivi, lakini kuna swala nyeti linaloguza kila Mkenya. Ukiwa hapa siku ya leo, uwe mwalimu, uwe muuguzi, uwe mkulima, hilo ni swala la gharama ya maisha.
Nikiitwa nitaitika kutumikia wana Kenya.
Seth Olale, Citizen TV.
Kutumikia wana.
Okay, Raila Odinga.
Azimio la Umoja leader, right?
Okay. Raila Odinga. He's actually singing. My quick take on this is Raila Odinga will be on the ballot in 2027. He will be on the ballot. Yes, I know some of you are thinking, oh, Raila will be 81. He will be on the ballot. He will be on the ballot. That's a confirmation right there. Like I say, there's so much hurdles for him to, hop over on that AU chairmanship bid, which I really doubt if he's going to get it, especially now that they want to put in a rule that they want to choose a woman. So again, the reason why he wants the implementation of this BBI report is because he will be the beneficiary of it. He understands that AU chair is not guaranteed, and it's looking bleak as the days go by. So hii BBI ndio maana unamsikia nasema, he wants it implemented as it is, just in case he doesn't go to AU. And even if he goes to AU, the AU seat ni 4 years, right? But even that, even before we go there, okay? I think he now is clear to him that he's not going to, the AU chairperson is not going to get that chair. Ndio maana unaona he's planting that idea, mwelewe ati nikiitwa, which he knows his supporters. Of course, his supporters are, majority of his supporters, town supporters are saying, Raila, don't go to AU, deal with Ruto here. So anaanza, he's putting it, anaieka hapo hivyo. He's starting to plant that seed early, telling you, nikiitwa taiti, which means basically he's saying, if you guys need me in 2027 to run, I'll be there. So anyone from the opposition who was hoping to harvest your Raila, sahau bwana, Raila will be here. And his brother already said it. Raila is not going anywhere. By the way, and again, whether this NADCO report is implemented or not, I've always argued that by Raila accepting this NADCO or having a seat with Ruto and compromising with Ruto, to his supporters, majority of his supporters, he has lost credibility. Okay, of course there are those who like him for Raila, whether he dives in the Lake Victoria and ask them to dive in the Lake Victoria and kill themselves, they'll do so. But for those who were supporting him in the hopes that he will defeat Ruto, they are now thinking, you know what, this guy, he's doing the same thing he did in 2017. And it's time to look for another way of trying to remove Ruto. Some of them sound like they've surrendered. They're saying 2027 will be Ruto's victory. More than likely. But again, this morning in KTN, there was a wonderful discussion about if this NADCO thing will be implemented. and some guy called Buchachi. I'll play his video. He argued that we are going to have a referendum. And I've said, if this NADCO thing was to be implemented, it will take us to a referendum. That's true, because the thing that the proposals proposes is going to have to change the structure of government. If you're going to change the structure of the government, we have to go to a plebiscite. Let's listen to Owedi. He was in KTN. I wanted to play the whole thing, but I can't because of time. Again, we have constrained with time because, again, I'm trying to go watch that Liverpool and Manchester City game. So we shall go through this. Owedi was in KTN this morning, I believe, and they were debating or talking about this NADCO thing. And I thought the discussion was actually... give me a second. Let me play that Owedi's take on this NADCO thing, because they were having this discussion, and I think it was really, I found it. It was kind of eye-opening, to say the least. So let's listen in and have a quick take on this matter as they see it. Owedi, as you know, is not the biggest Raila fan, but
Owedi, let me come to you, because the NADCO report came to the forefront due to a couple of issues that Kenyans felt needed to be addressed. Looking at the amendment bills and that one new bill that has sailed through the NADCO sittings and is now going to Bunge. What say you of the plight of some of you? As Kimani Ichung'wah said, we've covered 90%. That 10% will forward to the two principals, and they'll sit down and look at how to address it. One of them being the cost of living. So did it truly address the plight of Kenyans from what you said?
You know, the NADCO report was birthed by the street protest. Street protest was necessitated by the claim that the cost of living was very high and the election was stolen, and so the server should be open. Those are the only two reasons why people went to the streets. These others were born later. They were argued later. But you will notice that those two reasons why we went to the streets are not covered in the NADCO report. They were not even on the table. So it means somebody is tricking us. That each time he wants things round the way he wants, he looks for a sellable thing to the people to take to the streets, to put the pressure on the government, and so that some committee is called, that they later claim that, oh, you see, this is a negotiated report, and so it should now be passed the way it is. When you tell us that we should pass NADCO report the way it is because it is a negotiated document, and then it was a thing of two sides, Azimio and Kenya Kwanza. But there are so many, the other smaller coalitions. There's even one that will not be formed yet. Yet these things will apply to them. Take, for example, before the last general election, we had you and the NASA. But soon, Kenya Kwanza was born. UDA was born, and it became the largest political party in Kenya. And if there was any law that was made before that, using negotiations between Jubilee and NASA, it would not be part of it. So we must treat...
Very quickly, what Owedi is saying here is what I usually argue this every time. And I agree with Owedi in this sense that this NADCO report, first of all, we were told the main reason why we went to the streets, for those Azimio folks who went to the streets, was because of cost of living and electoral justice. That's why they were asking for Sava to be open and for the cost of living to go down. Now, the NADCO report addresses everything but that, okay? They are not asking for the server to be open anymore. They're just saying they'll, I don't know, study it or whatever the case is, all right? And again, the two principals made it clear that they did not agree on the what? On the cost of living, all right? But they came up with a wonderful, elaborate plan to change the structure of government. So nothing that took people to the streets was addressed, but they created something that only benefits the politicians. So I'm with Owedi in that. And number two, also, if you look at what he's saying that it's two political coalitions met outside of the parliament and had a negotiated position, okay? They came up with this agreement as two political coalitions, the Kenya Kwanza and Azimio. then they're trying to shove it through the parliament. So this is not representative of the whole Kenya, okay? Not everyone was at the table, was represented in those Bomas talks. Not everyone was represented when Raila met Obasanjo and Ruto and Suluhu in Mombasa, okay? These guys met outside of the legislative body, came up with a plan. They picked up a 7-man team on each side, met at Bomas, had our taxpayers' money. Then they told us, here's a proposal, pass it and make it law. That is not anchored in law, as I always say here. I've said it 1,000 times. I don't have to repeat it again, but that's not constitutional. That is not representative of the people. What about other coalitions, the small coalitions that are not Azimio or are not Kenya Kwanza? Who is representing them? Where is their say in this proposal? This is the argument Owidi is making, and I agree with him wholeheartedly. With that said, where we have a point of departure is this guy is saying that, it's the NADCO report should be adopted, but not as it is. And I'm saying the NADCO report should not be adopted at all, because it has nothing to do with Kenyans. Kenyans are not represented. Kenyans were not represented during the negotiations of this NADCO report. So it should be scrapped and done away with. I'm still waiting for Okiya Mtata to run to the High Court again and strike this thing so it can be trashed. And that's where it belongs. Trash, okay? Because it is not constitutional. You can't have two-party coalitions deciding what's good for the 50 million Kenyans, okay? There's divergent views and nobody was consulted. And the only place where we can have divergent views, where this stuff can be discussed and debated, and the people consulted in the 47 counties, is the legislative body, not at Bomas Center. So let's go on with Mr. Owidi.
All political formations equally. The fact that one look big today, what would happen if Kenya Kwanza and Azimio came together in the next general election, when these so-called negotiated laws were made by them, and now they are one? What doesn't leave there? So we have a country where the rule of law is followed, doesn't matter what the grievances are. We cannot have people that when they are outnumbered in the National Assembly, they go to the streets, we go to some committee, then whatever comes out of that committee is treated as a negotiated position, and we take it to Parliament and pass it without debate. That should not happen.
Needs to be said 1,000 times. I shall not stop saying this, and I agree with him in that. Sorry, I'm a bit frozen, but I'll continue. The very important point that he makes there is we cannot have this every electioneering year. We go to the polls, we pick our leader or whoever we choose to be president. The loser, which now we know is always Raila Odinga, decides to go to the streets and protest, violent protest, okay? Burning cars, burning business. Let's not play around. I know there's some people saying, yes, the Mandamano is in the Constitution. Yes, it is in the Constitution. You're right. But it says, the part that you always miss, it says peaceably protesting. Peaceably what? Picketing. It's in the Constitution, but it says peaceably. There's nothing peaceful about burning cars, throwing stones, and, destroying the businesses, okay? So anyway, we always go to Mandamano, then we have skirmishes, then he forces the government to sit down with him in some arrangement and have some kind of an arrangement where he'll be involved in the government. Okay? Now, my friends in the Azimio side, and I'm not Kenya Kwanza, I'm not Azimio, but I'm just saying, I always call them terrorists. And they get mad at me. Why are you using that word? That word is too harsh. We are not Bin Laden or something like that. We are not Al-Qaeda. And I tell them, look at the definition of terrorism. Terrorism is one who uses violence and intimidation, okay, to achieve political, as a means to achieve a political objective, okay? And this is what I'm saying. These guys go to Mandamano, cause chaos, they use the constitution as being their right to do so, cause chaos, destroying businesses and lives lost on both sides, whether it's the police shooting the innocent people, or the protesters pelting stones at the police. But at the end of the day, we have deaths and destroyed business and livelihood. And it forces the government to sit down with them, and they come up with something like this BBI nonsense that helps them, they negotiate for themselves, these opposition people, to be part of the government, okay? That's why I call them terrorists, okay? But we can't have that. We can't have that. If you lose, you lost. Sit as the opposition. You can come up with a bill to impeach, a motion to impeach the president if you don't like what he's doing, okay? But we can't have this man-to-man of violent protest that is designed to cripple businesses and government, or governance, so to speak, in order for you to secure a seat on the table with the president or his representative, so that you can push for your political objective, which is what? Being included in the government. We can't have that. We cannot. We simply can't. I'm sorry. I agree with Owedi on this. Okay? That's why I say this NADCO thing should be done away with. We cannot have this. We cannot have people, holding Kenyans, like that. That's just unacceptable. Ukishindwa nini? And this whole thing of opening server, just one more time. This whole thing of opening server, it's a non-starter. Like, I hear a lot of Azimio folks, when in these other platforms, they talk about, the server should be open. We need to know who won. This is part of electoral justice. And they say we believe in the constitution. The constitution should be upheld. But it just shows how ignorant they are. If you look at the constitution does not say that the server should be open and the server shall determine who won the election. No, it does not say that. It absolutely doesn't say that. Through the 2008, is it not 2008? Was it 2012? There's a ruling with Maina Kiai, where that's the ruling that the judges pronounce themselves in this matter and say that elections are to be determined at the polling station. So the Form 34As and Cs and whatever the case is, that were announced, whoever won at the polling station, whoever was announced at the polling station, that's it. We don't have to wait to Chebukati to go tell us, oh, somebody won in that polling station in Kawangware. So what happens is those forms are physically moved, taken to the Bomas, whatever, where Chebukati is, and at the same time, they take a picture and put it on the portal, and you can add up all the results from all the polling station from the Form 34As and 34Bs and Cs and whatever the case is. And you tally them up, and you can determine the president who won, and that's exactly what happened. The server has nothing to do with it. The server is just a storage unit for what happened, which we can open, yes, but we don't even have an IEBC to ask for them to open it. So I agree with Owedi. So this server thing was also, it's a fraud. We were lied to by the Azimio folks because they told us that they were going to the streets because of the cost of living and opening the server. And nothing in that, not only nothing was addressed in the NADCO proposal, but we shouldn't have negotiated for anything with these terrorists, as I call them. Nobody should negotiate with these people. You can protest peaceably, but you can't intimidate Kenyans, affect everyone's lives by destroying businesses and burning cars and disrupting the day-to-day goings of normal Kenyan, law-abiding Kenyans, just because somebody wants to go to AU and wants to change the structure of government. But I'll go to Owedi as we go on. I'll try to be as quick.
We must be a country where we have the rule of law.
Okay, so in retrospect, you're of the opinion that It shouldn't be passed as is.
No, it must be open to debate. Even if we campaign, okay, already Raila Odinga is campaigning that we pass it as it is because it's a negotiated document. I also agree with his campaign. But that campaign should only urge people that when you open it for debate, try not to amend anything. But if it is necessary to do so.
This is where he's messing up. He's saying he agrees with Raila running around telling us about this NADCO report. Again, I say the report is not anchored in law. It's not constitutional. Why are you agreeing with him in this NADCO nonsense? I do not agree with any of it. That is the point I'm making. Mr. Wade, you started up well saying that we cannot have two party coalitions negotiating, having a negotiated position that they want to force 50+ million Kenyans to adopt as part of their way of governance. You cannot have that. We have to have a proper representation. And some of these Kenyans are denied a chance to be represented because this NADCO negotiations was about Kenya Kwanza and Azimio working things together. What about the other small coalition, the parties that were in what about the independents? Who represented them? There are 3 constituents that lost their representative, and they haven't been able to choose their MPs and their representatives because we don't have an IBC. And who stole all this thing? It was the Azimio folks when they went to the streets and started banning things and fighting and everything, and the president had to stop the selection panel, choosing the selection panel. Okay? So we don't have an IBC. Okay? So why are you denying some people their democratic right to be represented, to choose their representative who will represent them at the legislative body? And number 2, why did you have to negotiate as Kenya Kwanza and Azimio? Because Kenya Kwanza and Azimio does not represent every Kenyan. Like I said, there's 50 million Kenyans, and not all of them support Azimio or Kenya Kwanza. Not all of them are members of Azimio or Kenya Kwanza. There's people who are independent. There are people who belong in individual parties that are not part of any political coalition. Where was their say during that NADCO report preparation while they were negotiating that stuff in Inyo with the Chungwa and Kalonzo Musyoka? This is why the first NADCO or BBI failed. It was initiated by Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga, and it failed in court. The second one, the talks failed because George Murugara, could not, agree with Otiende Amolo while the talks were going, because George Murugara was saying, listen, they are both lawyers, by the way, and they say, listen, if you're going to have a negotiated deal, it has to be anchored in law. And Otiende Amolo and the Azimio folks were trying to operate outside the law. And they said, no, this thing is not going to stand. And the talk stalled. So once they realized this time they went and chose a bunch of nitwits led by Chungwa. Chungwa is not a lawyer. Kalonzo is, but when was the last time you saw Kalonzo Kalonzo doesn't, forget about Kalonzo. But anyway, he's a lawyer and he knows better. He should know better, at least. So they chose Kalonzo Musyoka and a bunch of idiots at Bomas. And it was only Kenya Kwanza and Azimio who were negotiating this NADCO thing. That is not representative of the whole country. That's why if there was any negotiation or any bill that was to be passed or negotiated or anything to be negotiated, that should have happened in the not parliament, but the legislative body. Thoroughly debated, and we should have had a thorough public participation in all 47 constituencies. Especially if we're going to talk about matters that have to do how we govern ourselves, the structure of government. This has to be taken to the mashinani, to the constituency, to the people for public participation. It's there in the Constitution. I think it's Article 118 or something. Okay? We should have that. So Kalonzo Musyoka and Ichung'wah cannot sit at Bomas and pretend that they are preparing something that's beneficial for Kenyans for the sake of peace. Kenyans were not at war after William Ruto was declared the winner. There was no war. There was no clashes. There was no tribal clashes. That's why when I heard Paranyat saying that, oh, we had to, let's not forget why we came up with this proposal. You know, yes, let's not forget about it. The President Ruto, who I did not vote for, and I do not support, was democratically elected. There's no evidence that suggests otherwise. That's why Koome said it was hot air. Okay? So the issue, when somebody tries to convince us that, oh, without this NADCO proposal, if it's not adopted, we are going to be in war. No, we are not going to be at war. We went to the elections in August 2022, and there was no violence. Raila did not agree with the results, and he gathered his evidence and took it to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court sat there. We all saw that on camera. They argued their case, and they were asked, "Can you show us which server, where? Tell us where do you think the Ninio?" They keep on saying server, and they were told, the Ninio, can you name one polling station? That's why the judge asked them that. Let's not forget about this. It's very important. We all agree, and they know, the Azimio folks know, that the election results, the presidential ones, are declared at the polling station with the Form 34 and A's and B's and C's and whatever the case is. So what is this matter with Sava? And they were asked, Justice Smoky Wanjala asked them, can you name one polling station? Is there any polling agent of Azimio or Kenya Kwanza or an independent who complained of any irregularity in any polling station? And there was zero, none. Every polling agent walipiga sahihi, they counted the votes, wakapiga sahihi. You know what it means when you sign? You sign saying that you agree, you counted carefully, and agree that the results is X, Y, and Z. Okay? And the presiding officer took a picture, posted it on the portal, and then took the original one and akaipeleka kwa nani, kwa Chebukati uko Bomas. Is it Bomas or KICC, whatever the case is. So wherever you are, you could see the results on the portal and confirm it with what Chebukati was reading. And there was no discrepancies between what Chebukati was reading and what was on the forms, 34A, B, whatever the case is. The server is just a place where you store that result. So why are you calling on the server? You see, but they were banking on the ignorance of their supporters. Okay? Because most of their supporters do not know this. Hi, Goodyear. Nice seeing you. Hopefully you guys beat Man City in a few minutes. When is the kickoff? I think it's 12:45, so I have a few more minutes. Well, 12:45 on my time. I'm on East Coast, okay? Time of whatever. I know it's probably like what? Is it 5 something in England? Whatever, okay? But anyway, so that's what I'm saying. The Azimio folks are banking on the ignorance of their supporters by saying Sava, okay? But even that Sava stuff, let's just take them for what they're arguing about. The Sava issue is not addressed on the NADCO report. So my biggest point is this. Owidi is saying that he's supporting what Raila is doing, which is I have to, he's supporting what Raila is campaigning for right now for the implementation of this NADCO report. And I'm saying the NADCO report should not be even discussed. I'm predicting 2-2. Liverpool 2, Man City 2. That's my prediction. But you understand what I'm saying? We can't discuss something that is not anchored in law. But let's finish with Owidi. Then I'll go to Buchachi as we continue.
Because for me, where I sit,
the NADCO report has come out of a fraud. The fraud was go to the streets. Why? Because the cost of living is high. Why again? Because there was stolen elections and the server should be opened so that we know who actually won. When we very clearly know that in the last general election, the presidential results were announced from Form 34A and B, which were physically delivered to donors. They had nothing to do with the server. So we used fraud to have the NADCO formed, that group formed, to debate, to agree on issues. So this thing is a fraud ab initio. So let us not, we must open it to debate. That is my position.
Okay, well noted. As you come in, Bichachi, to talk to us about your observations around the...
Okay, enough of this. As I've argued, sorry about that, guys. As I've argued here, I've said it time after time again. You know, there's nothing to discuss about this. There's absolutely no reason to discuss this NADCO report. There's absolutely no reason. The High Court, through Justice Thande, said it. It's not anchored in law. So why is Raila running around telling the parliament, telling the legislative body to implement it as it is? Why do you want to implement something that's not anchored in law, something that's unconstitutional? It did not follow the new. What's there to implement? We cannot do that. Let's stop this nonsense. Stop it right there. So let's hear Buchachi. Buchachi had something to say about this as we enter our last part in the new. Let's hear Buchachi. Buchachi is another one who's an interesting fella. I usually see him. Some of these political analysts are like, I don't know, where do they find these people? Jogo Road, or I don't know. But this, no offense to anybody from Jogo Road. I'm just saying, some of the arguments here, like, what
observations around the NADCO report. So much hope was placed on these two groups coming to a sitting arrangement, agreeing on the issues to canvass, and thereafter we had the report. Does it meet the expectation of the masses, and do agree that it should be interrogated once it goes to the floor of the House?
First, let me just address myself to the issue of how we as a country like to belittle mass action. We like to belittle demonstrations and bedevil it. I would like to remind us that there's a country called France, where for almost a year last year, the workers demonstrated, shut down the entire country to bring the government to a negotiation. It is not illegal, even in our constitution, for people to demonstrate. And I think it is something that we must begin to agree to as a people. Because if we are to say today that demonstrations are bad because they're being done by Azimio, and say that whatever the agitators of the demonstration were doing is...
Buchachi, I'll have to correct him here. People are not saying that the demonstrations are bad because they are done by Azimio. That is not the case. We have no problem with people demonstrating. It is your right to demonstrate. There's nothing wrong with demonstrating. What we are saying is you cannot go to the streets, ban cars, burn down businesses, rob people, and think that that's okay. That's not enshrined in the Constitution. It says you can picket peaceably. Okay, go read that in the I think the article in the Constitution. Okay, so the problem is not Azimio going to demonstrate, but we know that every time this Raila Odinga man calls for a mandamano, we know what it means. We know we are going to have skirmishes. We are going to have people looting shops, people getting beat up, people getting stoned, cars being burnt. And of course, the government shall also be engaged and also are culpable in using, brute force, which we also equally condemn. So the problem is not that Azimio are going to protest. The problem is Azimio instead of protesting, they go there and cause chaos deliberately. And we can prove that. So Buchachi, save us your nonsense.
illegal, then we are removing a vital part of the Constitution, which is the right to picket and to show displeasure. The very act of democracy is about majority having their way and the minority having their say. Every single Kenyan, not just Boniface Mwangi, is entitled to demonstrations. They're not entitled to violence. That's not what I'm saying. Therefore, the NADCO report and any other agreed position that this country has had over time is not a bad thing. It is not bad.
The NADCO report is not agreed position by the country. This idiot, I don't know where they got him. The NADCO report is a negotiation position by the Azimio coalition and the Kenya Kwanza coalition. That does not constitute the people of Kenya. There are people, millions, who do not belong to Azimio and do not belong to Kenya Kwanza. So don't say that this is a negotiation position by the Kenyan people. This idiot, I don't know where they got him from. Buchacha, whatever the fuck his name is. It's pissing me off.
For President William Ruto to organize a team to talk to Azimio and say what the voters you represent, the ideas you represent, how can we marry them so that we come up with the same conclusion? Now, why am I saying this? President William Ruto himself, by his own pen, in a letter to Parliament, at the beginning of his presidency, put nearly 3/4 of the issues being addressed by NADCO in that letter. If there was an initiator of that NADCO report, it is President William Ruto himself. Okay? It is not just about demonstrations.
Okay.
When you look at the
negotiations are not bad. We are not against it. We don't have a problem with Raila or Ruto trying to negotiate their position, but it should be done at the right place. Okay? They have their members of parliaments and senators, and we have a body that is designed for this, the arm of government that is responsible for this, which is called the legislative body. That's where the issue should be brought. Argued, thoroughly argued, okay, taken to the wananchi in the 47 constituency, and let's have a thorough public participation. I've said this. How many times should I say this? This Buchachi guy, I don't know where he's from, but he needs to be slapped. But anyway, let's finish up as we wrap up. I don't want to stay long. My goodness, I don't know what I did there, but bear with me. All right, let's continue.
issues for it is every woman.
Gender equality, then gender thing is a principle, is not a mandatory. We are not, it's not a law that we have to have 2/3 gender, whatever rule, okay? It's a principle, which means we should incorporate women too in government. It doesn't say we must. We must. It's not a law saying that we must. Idiot. Then he's saying United States is the oldest democracy. It's not. United States has only been there for 200 years. Idiot. But anyway, let me keep on going. He's just making me mad. But let me calm myself out as we finish this whatever.
Having by partisan talks to date. Country. I think that that ship needs to sail, and we need to stop politicizing
it is very clear that there will be a referendum. There is no around. Now, say that no come. I don't think so. There is it will be a government.
Sorry, guys. I'm having issues with my live stream. But anyway, I have to go watch the game. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies, and comrades, I had to end it there. Sorry, I'm ending it so abruptly, but time. I have to make myself, Liverpool is playing with Manchester City. Sorry about that, guys. But like the video. I thank you guys for being part of it. I know the thing was, speaking of buffing, the thing was buffering, and I don't know if it's my connection or being attacked or whatever the case is. So it stopped playing. Sorry about that, Goodyear, and everybody else that was watching. Everyone who was watching there on Twitter, I see you. Like the video, please. Like the video, share, comment, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Okay, this is Kenja Revolutionary. Sorry about that. I have to go, unfortunately. My thing is messing up, and also I have to get going. Okay. So, anyways, like the video again. Like this video. Like it. Share. Comment. And again, subscribe. And if once you subscribe, wake your notification on, so every time I come in, you can always have your notifications give you that bing sound, wherever you have it, whether you're using your iPhone, Samsung, whatever. What is halftime? Yes, halftime. It's halftime. Nice way to put it, Goodyear. Yeah. So yeah, like I said, like the video, share it, comment, and also subscribe if you haven't subscribed. So every time I come in, you can get the notification that Kenja Revolutionary is on. Okay. So do that, and I'll talk to you guys later. This is halftime. Thank you very much for watching, everybody who has been watching. Okay. So peace and blessings, and I'll see you guys later. Peace, 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 peace.